All right, everyone, here we are with ticker symbol HYL and Hyliion Holdings Corp. And before we jump into this chart, we want to say to all the first-time viewers and investors, welcome to the channel. Invest for tomorrow. To all the subscribers, welcome back. And let's jump into this chart. So HYLN stock has actually had that run. We were watching it very carefully because it could have had the effect of getting closer to that midway point and actually coming right back down based off the history of the chart. And we were also comparing it to the possible opportunity for this history to repeat itself. What happened here? That it slightly crossed it, there'd be darker green bars, and it would hold itself up, reaching up newer highs. And you can see that it was around $18 and some change, and it rose up to almost $20. So I was comparing it to the probable fact that it could probably rise if this run does happen anywhere from $2 to $3 or a little bit better according to the history of what we see. Another thing we wanted to keep in mind and pay very close attention to was the fact that the peak was going to have a reversal at some point. And you can see that here. It broke through the midway point. We saw the darker green bars continue to rise, which is what we were looking for. And now the light ones have shown up. Now, as long as the light ones stay and it doesn't go completely back to the midway point and pop up with red ones, we're in a good standby here because it can kind of level off and fight its way through. And then we would have to watch and see if this is going to go back into darker green bars and start to work its way up to newer highs. So that's something to watch for. But the most important thing that really stood out is the fact that the closer moving average was right there on the last candlestick. And this is the 16th yesterday, leading on to today. It pushed off of it. It crossed the 50-day moving average. It was just indicating a run that was about to happen. Broke through resistance, reached newer highs, and we're leveled off at 1860. So that's important. And the other thing too is the fact that this ran up from the moment it crossed the midway point. It just took off. And right now, its kind of curvature is back in the other direction. So now what we want to watch for is this going to curvature completely back and kind of level off like that? And that's something to watch for because that means that this could start to work its way back down. Or it could be a slight, right, pull back, but level off still above the midway point and then bring itself back up to newer highs. And then that can kind of just show in the chart, and this would actually start to work its way up in the upward direction, reaching newer highs, new resistance levels, and pulling further away from the midway point. And we could have something like this start to form, right? And then lead up to obviously kind of meeting in the middle. It might even end up below it and then start preparing for another run like you could see here when that happens. So there's some things to kind of look at the way the history of the chart has reacted. Right now, it did its first run here, and we need to watch this closely if the run's going to continue due to the fact that this was the first one. It's already slightly cooling off. You can see it there based off the chart, right? It hit that run unless it levels off and it continues upwards. But the MACD was showing all those signs. Right now, the closer moving average is still below it. This still has room to continue as long as this doesn't cross this point and as long as they stay above the 50-day moving average. And if this was to slightly level off, as long as it doesn't just come right back down towards the middle and slightly breaking through it, this could kind of hang out sideways, maybe drop a little bit, and then bring itself back up with more momentum again. But if it does this, we could see this end up back below the 50-day moving average, work its way down, and then end up in bearish territory. And that's something we want to watch for. At least we know right now that that run has happened. We've seen it go up about $2 to $3. We were watching if this was going to get closer to $13. We want to also see if this is just hype and speculation right now, and if this stock can actually hold itself up. We're going to look at our resistance. We're going to look at our support, which is very important for the bulls to break through resistance to continue this momentum. And we're going to look at our support based off these last couple hours of the day. So this is going to be a very, very narrow stretch. And I want every single investor to be aware of these numbers that we're about to talk about. And I also want to put like a midway point to this whole entire thing due to the fact that this has been a very, very bullish run. So let's look at this based off the last hours of the day. Our 50-day moving average is 1673. Super important for the bulls to stay above that, to stay in control. If we cross it, we end up in bearish territory. The lowest point before the run was 1627. Super important number as well if it crosses the 50-day moving average. An important number to know if the volatility does take it down in that direction. And the midway point before getting to the 50-day moving average, if you want to dissect this stock and chart as much as you can into different layers, 1743 is the point that I would keep an eye on to see if the bulls bounce back, if this crosses the support level and bring themselves back up, or does it cross 1743? Even though we're still in bullish territory, monitor and watch the behavior of the stock. How quickly is it getting closer to the 50-day moving average, or are the bulls still trying to reappear? Because all of this is still bullish territory, and the bulls can always come back. But it's always good to dissect it, monitor the behavior, and see how the stock is reacting. How quickly is it moving down? How quickly is it moving up? So let's look here at our support and let's look at our resistance. So our support is 1841. The stock's price currently is 1860. Super important to keep that in mind as well, due to the fact that 1860 is the current market price, and we're not that far from our support level. So 1841 gets broken through. You want to pay very close attention to how quickly the stock is moving downwards. Are the bulls trying to reappear close by it? Is it actually working its way down really fast? And so forth, right? You want to pay attention to these behaviors. The other side of the spectrum, and is probably the most important number right now in the whole entire chart to see if this momentum continues, is 1875. That needs to be broken through by the bulls, turn into a support, and the bulls need to pull away from it to reach newer highs, new resistance levels, and pull further and further away from the 50-day moving average in an upward direction. With these cues, I hope you guys are well equipped for tomorrow's trading day. We're going to have to watch this one because just as fast as it went up, it can go down. If it doesn't break resistance, it's going to be much more difficult for the bulls to work their way up to newer highs. And we're going to have to see who dominates this one tomorrow. As always, if you found this video helpful and informative, please do so and subscribe. Don't forget to click on the bell to turn on all notifications and not miss a single video that I post. Share this with your friends and community. Don't forget to hit the like button to let me know you watched this video. And thank you guys so much for watching, and let's make some money.